Ever feel like learning takes forever? Like no matter how many books you read, tutorials you watch, or courses you take, it still feels like you're making zero progress? Most people learn like casuals, slow, passive, and easily distracted. But what if I told you there's a way to learn like a madman? To absorb knowledge at insane speeds, retain information permanently, and apply it effortlessly? This isn't some hack or quick fix nonsense. This is the real deal, a scientific battle-tested system that will help you master any skill faster than 99% of people. By the end of this video, you'll have a step-by-step blueprint that will transform you into a learning machine. Section 1. The harsh truth about learning. Many people think learning is just about consuming information, watching videos, reading books, or listening to podcasts. They believe that just taking in content will make them smarter or more skilled. But the reality is, most people struggle to learn effectively, not because they're not smart enough, but because they're using the wrong methods. The biggest mistake? Passive learning. Think about it. You've probably watched a tutorial or read a book and thought, wow, this makes so much sense. But then the next day, you struggle to recall anything you learned. You've forgotten key details, and that feeling of understanding you had yesterday is completely gone. Why does this happen? Here's the thing. Your brain is like a sponge, but only when you force it to work. If you're sitting back, letting information pour in passively, your brain gets lazy. It doesn't have to work hard, so it's quick to forget. Imagine trying to hold water in a sieve. It just slips right through. That's what happens when you learn passively. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with watching tutorials or reading books. These are great tools, but they're only part of the equation. To truly learn, you need to engage your brain. You need to actively struggle. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're trying to learn how to do a handstand. Watching a video about it can give you the basic idea, but it won't make you a pro. The real learning happens when you get off the couch, practice, and feel the struggle of balancing on your hands. You'll probably fall, you'll probably feel frustrated, but that's when your brain starts to create the neural connections that lead to real progress. This doesn't just apply to physical skills either. If you're trying to learn a new language, passively listening to a podcast while you clean the house won't cut it. You need to actively engage with the material. Speak out loud, write sentences, and put yourself in situations where you can make mistakes and learn from them. The key takeaway here is this. Learning isn't about absorbing information. It's about making your brain work. The more you push yourself outside your comfort zone, the more you force your brain to connect ideas and strengthen neural pathways. That's when real learning happens. Section 2. The Madman Learning Framework. Step 1. Obsession. If you want to learn something fast, you've got to get obsessed. I mean, like really obsessed. You need to make that skill your whole world. Think about the people who are amazing at what they do. Do they just dabble in it? Nope. They eat, sleep, and breathe it. And that's what you need to do. Change your phone wallpaper to something that reminds you of your goal. Put sticky notes around your room. Follow the top people in your field. Watch their videos, read their books, and absorb their mindset. Let your environment be a constant reminder of your mission. When you're obsessed, it's not about finding time for the skill. It becomes how you spend your time. Every moment counts. Step 2. Deep work. You've got to learn how to focus like your life depends on it. Here's the difference between someone who improves in weeks and someone who barely makes progress in months. 0 distractions and full intensity. Here's the trick. Set a 90-minute timer. That's it. 90 minutes of pure focus. No checking your phone, no distractions. Just you and your skill. The reason this works so well is simple. Your brain thrives on intense, focused bursts. It processes information more effectively when it's not juggling multiple things at once. This kind of deep focus allows you to really learn and improve instead of just skimming through material. Let's look at an example. Imagine you're learning to play an instrument. If you're only practicing for 30 minutes with distractions like TV or social media, you're barely making any progress. But if you lock yourself in a room for 90 minutes, phone off, no distractions, you're dedicating full attention to improving. This means better muscle memory, quicker understanding, and much faster results. Step 3. Immediate application. Here's where a lot of people go wrong. They watch, read, and study without actually doing anything. It's a trap. Think about babies. Do they learn to walk by watching endless tutorials? They try, they fail, they get back up. And that's how you need to approach learning too. If you're learning a language, start speaking right away, even if it's just a few words. If you're learning chess, play 10 games, lose 9, and learn from every mistake. If you're learning video editing, create 10 short videos this week. The more you fail, the faster you'll learn. Section 3. The science of learning fast. Learning fast isn't just about willpower. There's actual science that explains how we can speed up the process. Let's break it down with 2 powerful techniques that will make your brain work for you, not against you. 1. Active recall and spaced repetition. Instead of just rereading that chapter or rewatching that tutorial, you need to make your brain work. Here's what I mean. Let's say you're studying a new concept. Instead of passively reading the material again, take a moment, close the book, and try to recall everything you just learned. You'll be surprised at how much you might forget. Now here's the key. When you can't recall something, that's a signal that you need to pay extra attention to it. Go back, study that part again, and write it down. Now use spaced repetition. This is where you review what you've learned at increasing intervals. So the day after you learn something, review it. Then a few days later, review it again. 1 week later, review it again. This method works because your brain starts to strengthen the neural connections every time you review the information, making it harder for you to forget. It's like exercising a muscle. Repetition makes it stronger. 2. The Feynman Technique. Ever try explaining something to a friend only to realize you don't really get it? That's where the Feynman Technique comes in. The idea is simple. If you can't explain something in the simplest way possible, you don't fully understand it. Imagine you're learning about how a car engine works. Instead of using complex jargon, explain it like you're teaching a 5-year-old. Break it down into the simplest parts. What happens when you press the gas pedal, why the engine roars to life, and so on. If you struggle to simplify, you know where your gaps are. Go back and study those parts more closely until you can explain it in clear, simple language. By doing this, you force your brain to internalize the information, and it sticks with you better. The more you simplify, the more you solidify your understanding. Section 4. The 80-20 Rule of Skill Acquisition. The 80-20 rule says that 20% of your efforts bring 80% of the results. This means you don't need to master everything, just the key parts. Want to learn a language? Focus on the most used words and phrases, not the entire dictionary. Learning guitar? Master basic chords and strumming first, not complicated music theory. By focusing on the essentials, you'll see progress faster and feel more accomplished. Work smarter, not harder. Section 5. The Extreme Challenge Approach. If you want to level up fast, you need to set an extreme challenge. Something so intense, it forces you to adapt and improve at lightning speed. Want to learn coding? Don't just study theory for weeks. Build a full project in 1 week. It's hard, but when you're under that kind of pressure, you'll pick up real skills fast. What about video editing? Instead of waiting for the perfect idea, make 10 videos in 10 days. It'll be tough, but by the end, you'll have 10 finished projects and a ton of practice. Want to get good at public speaking? Commit to doing a speech every day for a month. Sure, it'll be uncomfortable at first, but with every speech, you'll improve your confidence and communication. The key is to force your brain to adapt. When you set these extreme challenges, you'll push past your limits, improving faster than you ever thought possible. The power of hunger mode. At the end of the day, it all comes down to hunger. If you learn like your life depends on it, you'll outpace 99% of people. You don't need to be the smartest, the most talented, or even the most disciplined. You just need to obsess and take action like a madman. So stop waiting, pick your skill, go all in, and remember, the faster you fail, the faster you win.